Welcome to my channel. Don't forget to like and subscribe. He invited the foreign girl to stay in his tent, but he never expected what happened next. The desert storm screamed like a living thing, each gust of wind tugging at the fabric of Corin's tent as if determined to peel him out of it and toss him into the endless dunes. He hunkered down, clutching the center pole like a man trying to wrestle a particularly aggressive broom, muttering under his breath about how this trip was supposed to be a peaceful break from civilization. Sand seeped in through the seams, filling his boots and his stew pot alike. By the time he managed to get the fire lit again, he had resigned himself to dining on something that could probably be rebranded as gritty soup. Through the roar outside came a sound he almost dismissed as imagination, a knock on a tent flap, in the middle of a storm that could peel the eyebrows off a camel. He blinked, sat up, and there it was again, soft, polite, absurd. "Whoever you are," he shouted over the gale, "if you're here to sell me life insurance, I'm not interested." The flap opened anyway, and in stepped a cloaked figure, hunched against the wind. Corin fumbled for his rifle, then thought better of it when the figure collapsed in a heap just inside the tent, shivering. She smelled faintly of ozone and something like rain on hot metal. Not exactly threatening. "Fine," he muttered, pulling the flap closed again. "But you're sharing the stew, and I don't do refunds if you don't like it." The figure stirred, pushing back the hood. Corin's hand froze halfway to the ladle. What looked back at him was not the tired, dust-choked face of some wandering trader, but a pair of eyes that glowed faintly in the dim firelight, their silver flecks moving like constellations in miniature. Her skin shimmered as though moonlight had been trapped beneath it, and her ears, long, curved, and delicately tapered, would have made an elf jealous. "Right," Corin said, putting down the ladle. "So, not local." She tilted her head, studying him with unnerving calm. "You are human." "Well, last I checked." He gestured at himself. "Though on bad days, I resemble a sack of potatoes more than anything else." The corner of her mouth twitched, almost a smile. "Forgive the intrusion," she said, voice low but steady. "The storm would have undone me." "Yeah, storms here are pretty rude," Corin agreed. He handed her a bowl of stew. "Eat. You're lucky my cooking is only mildly poisonous." She accepted the bowl with both hands, sniffed it, and took a careful sip. The luminous glow of her skin pulsed faintly, brighter for a moment, as if even a spoonful of human stew was enough to fuel starlight. Corin blinked at that. "Either you like it," he said, "or you're about to explode. If it's the second thing, kindly warn me first. I just fixed this tent." Her laugh was soft, like crystals striking water. "It is different. I thank you." "Different is the politest word anyone's ever used for my cooking," he said. "So thanks." The storm outside raged on, sand hissing across the fabric like claws. Corin poked the fire, sneaking glances at her. She looked like a woman in shape, but everything else about her felt tuned to another frequency. Her cloak steamed faintly as it dried, leaving faint sparks in the air, like static that didn't quite want to fade. "So," he said casually, "what brings you to my humble vacation home? Lost a tour group? Running from debt collectors? Looking for the galaxy's worst stew?" Her luminous eyes lifted to meet his. "I am seeking shelter, and perhaps more." "More?" She hesitated, studying him again, as if measuring whether he was worth the truth. Then she set down the bowl, lifted her hand, and pulled back the rest of her hood. With it gone, the glow of her skin filled the tent, silver fire spilling across the walls and pooling on the sand. The little shelter suddenly felt like the inside of a lantern. Corin's jaw worked. "Okay, that's a neat trick. Definitely going to save on candles." "I come from far beyond your skies," she said. "My world is dying." Corin opened his mouth, closed it again, then tried for humor as a defense. "Well, that's heavy. You sure you don't just need, say, a map and some bug spray?" Her expression didn't change, though her ears angled slightly back, like sails catching a different wind. "You offered me safety, human, but I must ask for more. A bond." Corin blinked at her. "A bond? Like, what kind of bond are we talking about here?" Marriage bond? Bail bond? Superglue? Her eyes flickered, the silver inside them rippling with something he couldn't name. The kind that endures beyond storms, beyond worlds. Corin leaned back, letting out a long, slow breath. Lady, I was just trying to keep my soup from blowing away. I wasn't expecting galactic destiny. She smiled then, faint but real. Destiny rarely asks permission. Corin stared at her glowing skin, her long ears, her otherworldly calm, and felt a laugh bubbling up despite the strangeness of it all. Well, he said, at least you didn't try to sell me life insurance. The storm howled on, but inside the tent, silver light and laughter kept the darkness at bay. Corin had never been accused of subtlety, but even he knew when silence mattered. The woman, no, the alien, sat across from him in the glow of the fire, her silver-lit skin flickering in rhythm with the storm's gusts. Her bowl of stew sat half-finished, steam curling from it like the last breath of something small and tired. Corin fought the urge to ask her if she glowed brighter after eating more potatoes, but managed to keep his mouth shut for a solid 30 seconds. Then he caved. So, Lysra, right? That's your name. Or did I just hallucinate that? You did not hallucinate. She sipped the stew again, carefully, as if it might betray her at any moment. Lysra. Pretty name, he said. I'd tell you mine, but compared to yours, Corin sounds like the noise you make when you stub your toe. She tilted her head, studying him. Names carry resonance. Meaning. Yeah, well, in my case it means guy who gets sand in all his food. Her laugh was quiet but genuine, silver eyes warming a little. Corin decided he liked that sound. He decided he liked it enough to risk another joke. So what's the policy on shaking hands? You don't vaporize people by accident, right? No, she said, and set down the bowl. But I do not recommend touching without care. He raised his eyebrows. You've got the galaxy's first warning label attached to your skin. That's handy. Lysra's smile faded. Her gaze drifted toward the storm outside, as though she could see beyond the canvas walls into the stars. I am the last of my vessel. We traveled across the void, seeking worlds untouched by the storms. We thought this system would be safe, but our engines failed. My people scattered. Some are lost already. Corin felt the weight of her words pressing into the tent, heavier than the wind battering outside. He scratched the back of his neck, searching for the right thing to say. Comfort wasn't exactly his specialty. His entire emotional toolkit consisted of sarcasm and poorly cooked meals. That's rough, he managed. I mean, I complain when my water filter breaks, but you lost your whole planet. That kind of puts things in perspective. Makes me feel like an idiot for getting mad at sand. She turned back to him, those luminous eyes steady. Do not belittle your feelings. Survival is survival. Every irritation is a storm of its own. Corin blinked at her. That's surprisingly wise for someone who just complimented my potato soup. I did not compliment it, she corrected gently. I said it was different. He clutched his chest dramatically. Ow, right in the pride. This earned him another laugh, brighter this time, and it cut through the heaviness of the moment like a blade through silk. They sat for a while in something resembling peace. Corin fiddled with the fire, tossing in scraps of driftwood he'd hauled with him. Lysra watched him as though memorizing every motion, how he struck the flint, how he stirred the embers, even how he burned his fingers and cursed under his breath. Your world is strange, she murmured at last. The air is thick. The light is gentle. Even storms do not carry the hunger I have known. Well, don't give them ideas, Corin said. If the storms here start trying to eat people, I'm moving to the mountains. Perhaps you already have, she said cryptically. He squinted at her. Okay, you can't just drop cryptic lines like that and not explain them. It's against the rules of polite conversation. She tilted her head again, as if considering whether he could handle the truth. Then she drew a deep breath, her luminous skin flaring faintly brighter. My world is gone, she said, consumed by void storms. They were not natural. They were born. Something out there tears holes in what should not break. We fled. We scattered. We hope to find allies. Corin rubbed his temples. Okay, so let me get this straight. Your planet got eaten by cosmic storms, and now you're hoping some backwater desert hermit with a bad tent will be your ally. No pressure. You offered me shelter, she said simply. Kindness in small things is rarer than weapons. That shut him up. He fiddled with the ladle, trying to play it off. Yeah, well, don't go spreading rumors. People might think I'm nice. Her smile returned, soft but steady. Perhaps you are. He grumbled something incoherent, mostly to hide the warmth creeping up his neck. The storm outside began to fade, its roar dwindling to a low hiss. Lysera rose to her feet, tall and graceful despite the low ceiling of the tent. Her ears twitched faintly, as though attuned to a sound he couldn't hear. What is it? He asked. Machines, she said. Hunters. Corin's stomach dropped. Hunters? Like animals? Or hunters like, people with better rifles than mine? Neither. They are scavengers. They smell my light. Corin groaned, grabbing his rifle. Fantastic. I invite a glowing alien into my tent, and suddenly every creepy thing in the desert wants to eat us. Figures. She didn't laugh this time. Her gaze was steady, sharp. If they come, you must not let them take me. Promise me, Corin. He swallowed. The humor fled his voice, but the stubbornness remained. Promise or not, they're going to have to get through me first. And for the record, I bite. This time her smile was different, grim, but approving. The glow around her intensified, silver fire licking at the air like it was alive. Corin tightened his grip on his rifle and muttered under his breath. Next time, I'm inviting a normal traveler. Someone boring. Someone who doesn't glow like a night lamp and attract killer machines. But he knew it was already too late. Whatever storm she had brought with her, he was in it now. The first sign of trouble was the silence. Corin had grown so used to the wind rattling his tent that when it stopped, the absence felt louder than the storm itself. He peered outside, squinting into the night. The desert stretched in all directions, dunes pale under a moon that seemed far too curious for his taste. For a moment, nothing moved. Then he saw them. Dark shapes skimmed just above the sand, gliding without wings, their bodies glinting with metallic sheen. At first he thought they were some kind of drones, maybe the experimental kind governments denied having. But as one turned, he caught a glimpse of a jagged underbelly, all rotating pincers and antennae, and decided this was way outside the jurisdiction of local authorities. Okay, he muttered, pulling his head back inside the tent. So good news, the storm's gone. Bad news, we've got giant flying toasters of doom. Lysera was already standing, her glow dimmed down to a faint shimmer, her expression calm in the way only someone expecting death could manage. They found me, she said quietly. Corin grabbed his rifle. Right, well, they can unfind you, preferably after we've had breakfast. I've still got half a loaf of bread somewhere. Be ashamed to die before finishing it. They will not stop, Lysera said. Not until they strip me to nothing. Corin winced. That's a very unsettling way to phrase it. Can we call it something less horrifying? Like a tax audit. She gave him a look that was either confusion or disapproval. Hard to tell with those glowing eyes. He loaded his rifle, the old lever action clunking like it resented the idea of being useful. All right, plan. I shoot the shiny murder bugs. You, I don't know, glow at them aggressively. Her skin pulsed faintly brighter. I can bend light. Confuse them. For a short time. Perfect. You dazzle them. I panic fire wildly, and together we'll be the galaxy's least coordinated defense team. They slipped out of the tent just as one of the scavenger drones dropped low, claws scraping the sand. Up close it looked like a nightmare welded from scrap metal and bad intentions. Corin raised his rifle and fired. The bullet pinged off its plating like a pebble tossed at a tank. Well, he muttered, that was embarrassing. Lysera lifted her hands, and suddenly the desert lit up. She bent the moonlight into a dozen copies of herself, all shimmering phantoms that darted across the dunes. The drones shrieked in mechanical tones, scattering toward the illusions. Corin gawked. Remind me to never play cards with you. You'd clean me out. Focus, she said, though her lips twitched faintly at the corners. Corin fired again, this time aiming for the exposed underbelly. Sparks flew, and one drone careened into the sand, thrashing like a beetle on its back. Huh, who's the toaster now? Another drone dove at him, claws snapping. He ducked, rolled, and came up spitting sand. I swear, he coughed. If I survive this, I'm inventing alien-proof bug spray. Lysera threw her light like a spear, a concentrated beam that sliced across the drone's side. The machine screamed in static and spiraled away, smoking. Her glow dimmed afterward, her body swaying with the effort. Corin caught her arm. Hey, don't you dare burn out on me. I'm still relying on you to explain all this nonsense later. She steadied herself, eyes determined. I can still fight. Good, because I'm about out of witty one-liners. They fought together, clumsy but effective, his rifle cracking, her light illusions weaving chaos. Each time a drone fell, more seemed to appear, their shadows multiplying across the dunes. Corin's arms ached, his ears rang, and sand found new creative ways to infiltrate his clothing. Finally, after what felt like hours, but was probably minutes, the last drone collapsed into a heap of sparking metal. Corin leaned on his rifle, panting. All right, he gasped. New rule. No more mysterious, glowing guests in my tent. Strict humans-only policy from now on. Lysera managed a weak smile. And yet, you would not send me away. He paused, then sighed. Yeah, well, you'd only find more murder toasters out there, and then I'd feel guilty. Can't have that. Her glow steadied, dim but constant. She looked at him with something that wasn't quite gratitude, not quite sorrow. You chose to fight beside me. Few would have. Yeah, well, I'm not smart enough to run, Corin said. Besides, somebody's got to keep you humble. You're way too good at the light tricks. Makes the rest of us look bad. Lysera tilted her head, as if committing his words to memory. You are unlike others I have met. He gave a tired grin. That's the polite way of saying idiot, isn't it? Her laugh was soft, but real. They returned to the tent, battered and exhausted. Corin collapsed onto his bedroll, sand puffing up around him. So, he said, next time you want to hide from galactic death machines, maybe don't pick the one tent with my name on it. Just a suggestion. Lysera settled across from him, folding her long ears back as though in thought. Perhaps that was not chance. He raised an eyebrow. Oh no, don't you dare start talking about fate. I already have enough problems, without cosmic destiny showing up. She smiled faintly, her silver eyes reflecting the dying fire. Destiny rarely asks permission. Corin groaned into his blanket. Fantastic. I'm doomed. And despite the exhaustion, despite the fear, he found himself smiling too. The morning after the battle looked deceptively calm. Corin woke with sand in his mouth, his rifle across his chest, and the distinct feeling that every muscle in his body had filed a complaint. Lysera sat near the dying fire, her glow dim but steady, her eyes fixed on the horizon. Please tell me you've been watching for coffee delivery, he groaned, pushing himself upright. I do not know this word coffee, she said. Corin froze. You don't know coffee? All right, forget destiny, forget glowing skin, forget space bugs. This is the real tragedy here. Her ears twitched faintly. Explain. It's the only reason humans get out of bed. Black liquid miracle. Without it, civilization collapses. Wars have probably been fought over less. She regarded him with patient curiosity. Your people sound fragile. Fragile. We survived inventing fast food and reality television. We're basically indestructible. Her lips curved, though she said nothing. Corin stretched, wincing. So, what's the plan, Starlight? I assume sitting here until the next wave of shiny murder bugs shows up isn't an option. They will track me again, Lysera said. We must move. There are places where the earth itself hides light. Caves. They will shield me. Great. I love caves. Nothing says comfort like damp rocks and mysterious bat smells. She rose gracefully, cloak swirling around her. You complain much, Corin. It's my coping mechanism. Some people meditate, I complain. He gathered his gear, muttering about vacation gone wrong, while dousing the fire. They set off across the desert, the sand stretching endlessly under the rising sun. Lysera walked with quiet purpose, her glow barely visible in daylight, while Corin trudged behind, grumbling about blistered feet. At one point, he squinted up at her. So these caves. Any chance they're not filled with hostile alien wildlife? Because I don't think my rifle is rated for giant-fanged sandworm. There are no worms, she assured him. Good. What about spiders? No spiders. Scorpions. She paused, as if calculating whether honesty was worth it. Not large ones. Corin groaned. That's not comforting. By midday, the heat pressed down like a furnace. Lysera's pace never faltered, though sweat dripped from Corin's brow. He muttered something about filing a complaint with the Interstellar Travel Bureau. To distract himself, he asked, So, do your people, I don't know, argue about dishes too? Or is that a uniquely human form of torture? She tilted her head. Dishes. You know, after meals. Cleaning up. Half of every marriage on Earth is just arguing over whose turn it is. Lysera considered this gravely. We shared tasks. But I once argued for an entire cycle about who should repair a vent conduit. Corin brightened. See, universal problem. Chores are the true enemy of peace. Her laugh echoed softly across the dunes, light as her footsteps. For a moment, the weight of pursuit lifted, replaced by something almost normal. By evening they reached the mouth of a cave, half hidden beneath jagged stone. Corin eyed it skeptically. Cozy. I've seen scarier bathrooms. Lysera stepped inside, her glow casting faint light against the walls. Strange symbols etched into the stone flickered faintly in response. Corin froze. Okay, unless your people were here centuries ago redecorating caves for fun, I'm calling alien real estate. She touched the markings gently. Others have passed through. Not my kind, but travelers, wanderers, perhaps even survivors. Corin raised an eyebrow. So basically this is a cosmic Airbnb. Great. They settled deeper into the cave, where the glow of the walls responded faintly to Lysera's presence, as if recognizing her. Corin set down his pack with a sigh. All right, honesty time, he said. I'm in way over my head. I've gone from peaceful camping trip to starring in a sci-fi horror flick in about 2 days. If there's some kind of galactic user manual I should be reading, now's the time to hand it over. Lysera met his gaze. There's no manual. Only choice. You offered me kindness. That is why you are here. Corin shook his head. Kindness, huh? Pretty sure it was just stew. And not even good stew. Small things matter, she said softly. Silence fell for a while, broken only by the drip of water deeper in the cave. Corin leaned back against the stone, staring at her glow. You know, he said finally. When I first saw you, I thought, oh great, she's going to eat me. Lysera arched a brow. Eat you? Well, glowing skin, long ears, mysterious vibes. You tick all the boxes for people-eating alien in my head. She chuckled, shaking her head. You are strange, Corin. Strange keeps things interesting, he said with a shrug. Normal is boring. And besides, if you'd actually tried to eat me, you'd be disappointed. I'm mostly gristle. Her laugh lingered longer this time, echoing gently in the cave's chambers. As night fell, Corin lay awake, listening to the faint hum of energy in the walls, watching the silver fire flicker across Lysera's skin. He realized he didn't feel like a rescuer or a hero. He felt like a man swept up in a storm far larger than himself. And yet, lying there, he also realized he didn't mind. When she spoke again, her voice was quiet. You could still leave. Corin rolled onto his side to look at her. Yeah, well, I'm terrible at quitting. Her smile was faint, but her eyes softened. Then perhaps you are exactly who I needed to find. He huffed a laugh, pulling his blanket over his head. Great. No pressure. But sleep came easier than he expected, and for the first time since the storm began, the night felt almost safe. Corin woke to the sound of humming that didn't belong to the cave. At first he thought Lysera was practicing alien lullabies, but the low, mechanical drone quickly sharpened into something unmistakable. The scavengers were back. He sat up, clutching his rifle. I swear, these guys need a new hobby. scrapbooking, knitting, literally anything other than chasing glowing women through deserts. Lysera stood already, her glow brighter than it had been in days. They have found us again. This is the last time I can run. Corin groaned. That's it then. Big finale. No pressure. Just two people against an army of homicidal junk piles. Totally fine. Happens all the time. They moved toward the mouth of the cave, where the machines gathered in a semicircle, pincers clattering. The sky above them shimmered faintly, like a curtain of heat. Corin muttered, "Great. They brought special effects." Lysera lifted her hands, silver fire spilling into the air. "If I burn all that remains in me, I can shield us, perhaps drive them away." "But," he cut her off. "But nothing. You're not torching yourself to save me. We're a team now. Equal opportunity bad decisions." Her gaze softened, but her voice stayed firm. "Corin, if they take me, they will consume what I am. They will spread the storm that destroyed my world. If I must end, let it be to stop them." He tightened his grip on the rifle. "You know what? I didn't survive bad stew, sand in every possible crevice, and your cryptic speeches, just to lose you now. We're doing this together. And if we die, well, at least they'll choke on my sense of humor." Lysera hesitated, then nodded. The glow around her surged, enveloping both of them. Silver light bent and twisted, weaving itself into a dome that shimmered like liquid moonlight. The scavenger drone screeched, slamming against it. Sparks erupted where pincers met light. Corin fired through the gaps, each shot finding the vulnerable underbellies. "You know, if I make it out of this, I'm writing a strongly worded review. 1 star. Too many killer robots." Lysera strained, her body trembling as the shield held. "Your words are strange, yet they give me strength." "Yeah, well, wait until you hear my thoughts on Laundry Day. That'll really inspire you." The battle raged. Drones collapsed in bursts of sparks, their bodies twitching in the sand. Lysera's glow flared brighter, then dimmed dangerously, her energy nearly spent. Corin threw down his rifle, grabbed a fallen drone's power core, and hurled it like a grenade into the swarm. It exploded, sending shards and static flying. Silence followed. The last drone fell smoking into the sand. Corin collapsed beside her, panting. "Well, that was mildly terrifying. On the bright side, I think we've officially qualified for the galaxy's weirdest team-building exercise." Lysera's glow flickered faintly, but she smiled. "We endured. Together." "Yeah, together," he said softly. They remained there, surrounded by wreckage, until the dawn broke over the dunes. The desert seemed almost peaceful again, though Corin suspected peace was a rare visitor. "So what now?" he asked. "You can't exactly go home, and I'm not sure my landlord will approve of a glowing alien roommate." Her eyes shimmered. "Home is gone, but life endures. Perhaps here, perhaps with you." He rubbed the back of his neck, awkward but sincere. "Guess I always wanted a roommate who could double as a night light." Her laughter rang clear, echoing through the cave mouth. Corin looked out across the horizon, then back at her. He'd started this journey as a man who only wanted peace and quiet, who thought the worst thing he'd face was a sandstorm. Now he stood beside someone who had lost everything, and yet he didn't feel small. He felt chosen, not by destiny, not by cosmic plans, but by the simple act of opening his tent flap. "All right then," he said. "Let's see what kind of mess we can make together." Lysera reached for his hand, careful but steady, and for the first time her glow didn't burn, it warmed. Above them, the sky stretched endless and open, no longer a threat but a promise. And together, they stepped forward into it. The end.